of different resolutions and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's a good question. Okay, so when you're shooting with your digital camera, okay, you want to keep your image size setting at the highest resolution. Now the drawback to doing that is your camera will not be able to store as many photos. Okay, it may say card full eventually, okay, but that's good because you want the highest resolution, and you want to make sure you turn off any sharpening. Now, how do I know if my camera does this, right? You have to look at the instruction manual. Each camera is different, okay, and I can't, unfortunately, I don't know all the digital cameras, and again, I'm not a photographer, I'm a retoucher, so I deal with photos after they're made. But I deal with a lot of photos that are sharpened in the camera, and they're very difficult to work with. Okay, so you have to look at your manual, look up sharpening, and figure out how to turn that off. Okay, if you got it on, no big deal. Just eventually, when you figure it out, turn it off. Then, when you print these pictures, you should print on the manufacturer paper. So if you have an Epson printer, you should print on Epson paper. If you have an HP printer, you should print on HP paper. And you should use the same inks. Epson printer, Epson inks. HP printer, HP inks. Canon, same thing. All the brands, same thing. Okay? And this is, again, this is just prevention here that I'm giving this to you. Then you archive your photos on a CDR or a DVD-R. Notice I didn't say RW. Okay? It's a big difference. Again, that's another session. Got to move on, but we deal with that in the books actually too. So let's deal with some simple color restoration. Okay, first there's two levels. There's the simple color restoration, and then there's a complex color restoration. Okay, now the simple color restoration, and I'm going to show you all of this, is first a simple levels adjustment. Sometimes just fixing the contrast on a picture, you'll look at it and say the color's faded. But actually, if you just adjust the contrast, you just do a simple contrast fix, that's all you need to do. Some pictures need what's called a saturation adjustment. Again, I'm going to show you all of this. And some, just leave it alone. Because there was never any color in the first place. And it was never really good contrast either. So sometimes just scan it in as it is. And when a black and white photo ages, it tends to get yellow. And everyone thinks, oh, that's a sepia tone, you know. Well, no. A lot of these aren't sepia tone. A lot of these were plain old black and whites, and they just got yellow over time. So sometimes you just got to desaturate the color. We'll get into that. Then you have the complex color restoration. Okay, and this requires actual working in the photo, in Photoshop, painting on the cheeks, making them a little rosy, painting in the eye color, painting in the hair color, or the dress or the suit color. And then you have levels of even more complexity with masks and selections, where various portions are isolated and adjusted. And there's these different tools here. And I outline all of this that you see is in your handout. So what have you done to prevent your photos from fading? Anybody out here that would like to share with the class? What's something that you did? Okay, I'll tell you something I did. That I did is I made sure that no sunlight was touching my pictures. So that means I can't put family photos out in the living room on the little coffee table or something where the sun is coming in, because the sun will fade it. Okay, you might be lucky and maybe it won't, but generally that's what the sun does. It's a pretty powerful thing out there in space, and we have the atmosphere to protect us, but photographs, they don't have that kind of protection that we have. Okay, and is anyone out here, has anyone restored a photo with faded color and you just found the trick that you wanted to share with anybody? No? Okay, well, you're going to get some today that you can tell other people about. Okay? So, we're going to get started here. And I'm going to load Photoshop. Was there any questions about what I just said? Yes?
Will you cover retouching or fixing the faded color on slides, or is that another program?
No, it would be the same program. Yeah. Now slides, no, it would be the same principle. Yeah, you just need a slide scanner. The hardware might be a little different. Now you may have a flatbed that has a slide attachment to it, and that would work. Generally, generally that will work. It just depends on how well you use it, what you're doing. Okay, so it's a little slow. It's coming up.
Question.
Yes?
If you have the negatives, the pictures in the negatives, and the negatives obviously are not going to be on the sunlight.
Yeah.
You're better off just scanning the negatives and then touching.
Great question. Okay, so you got a print, right? And it's faded out, but you happen to have the negative of that print.
Right.
Should you just skip the print and work on the negative? I say yes. Work on the negative. Work on the negative. I mean, assuming the negatives aren't damaged.
Yeah, right.
They're in good shape. Definitely go to the original source, because remember, a print is made from a negative, right? Yeah. So there is a specific kind of faded picture I want to work on, but let me look at what I have. Two here, but one of them is not. Both of them are not color. None of these are color? I wanted to show a color one. Well, you never know. Let me look, because I'll be the judge if this wasn't color. No, just kidding. Yeah, I believe you. Yeah. Well, what a nice collection of photos you have here. Okay, let me do this. All right, this is the one I want. Okay. And great. Okay. All right, so here we have, can you all see this? Here we have this is actually a colorized photograph, okay? And I want to show you what a simple levels adjustment will do to bring back that color, okay?
When they did the colorizing, did they paint on it, or?
Yes.
I've got one that's got.
Yes.
Picture and then there's color added.
Yes, exactly. So I go to Image Adjustment Levels, okay? And then what I do is I go, now this part isn't in your handout. Then what I do is I go to the individual channels in this drop-down menu. Can you see that there? It says Channel RGB. Well, I don't work in Channel RGB. I work in the individual channels. So let me go to red. Okay. And I move each one of these sliders to the edge of this thing called a histogram. I tell my students I call it a mountain. So move your sliders that are at the ends, the white and the black sliders, to the edges of the mountain. Okay. Then I go to the green. I know you're looking at this saying, Eric, are you joking? No, I'm not. Just be patient. See, I brought these sliders to the edge. Okay. Now I go to the blue. Okay. And see, right to the edge. So I'm going to check the preview box before, after. Now, can you see on the screen the color in their cheeks? It looks kind of yellowish, reddish. Can you see that? Okay, maybe a little bit. You know, it's on the screen. It's kind of hard to see. But when